Mr. President, today the Senate began holding hearings for the President-elect's nominees to serve in his cabinet. This morning, Senate Armed Services Committee heard testimony from Pete Hegseth to serve as Secretary of Defense. Few nominees will face the kind of troubling questions that Mr. Hegseth faced going into today's hearing. He is, by outward appearance, woefully unfit for a job like Secretary of Defense. Unfortunately, Mr. Hegseth, unfortunately for Mr. Hegseth, his testimony thus far has failed to address the disturbing questions that plague his nomination. It appears Mr. Hegseth's strategy is to follow the 5 Ds of dodgeball: dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Mr. Hegseth failed to explain, for one, why someone with his lack of qualifications should be entrusted to lead our armed forces. Why should America entrust our military to a television personality who has never led any large organization? This is a huge organization, DOD. He hasn't come close to having any of that kind of administrative experience. We didn't hear any good answer to that question. Mr. Hegseth also failed to honor his deeply flawed history of financial and organizational mismanagement. Why should he be the one entrusted to manage the Pentagon's budget? Again, no good answer. When asked about his comments as recently as 2 months ago, when he claimed we should not have women in combat roles, he had no good answers. Finally, Mr. Hegseth failed to assure us he has the temperament for the job. His history of excessive drinking is troubling for someone seeking to lead our military, and his reflexive defiance against the allegations regarding sexual assault undermines his credibility. If Mr. Hegseth has nothing to hide about his past, then it shouldn't be a problem for the chairman of the Armed Services Committee to allow all committee members to review all FBI background documents. But today, Chairman Wicker rejected this reasonable request by Ranking Member Reed to let committee members review Mr. Hegseth's past. Again, if there's nothing to hide about Mr. Hegseth, why is the chairman hell-bent on keeping all relevant information out of the hands of his colleagues? To dismiss the allegations against Mr. Hegseth, but then reject full transparency, is odd at best, dangerous at worst. It reeks of something hiding in the dark. Being Secretary of Defense demands discipline, character, restraint. Mr. Hegseth's history shows he is deficient in all these qualities, and thus, so far, his hearing has not changed that.